Welcome to the finale of Documentatin How to Get to the Forbidden Zone in the Crew. I know there's a little bit of delay on getting to this finale, but I didn't necessarily mean to Rick and Morty it just kind of happens. But anyway, we're here now, so we might as well enjoy it. And for the other videos, they're on GT Planet. I'm posting this one on GT Planet, so I'd assume this is where it's going to get the most views. But there's a whole heck of heap of other ways to find it too. It's in the Crew playlist on my channel. It's linked in some of the other videos that goes with this on the channel. There's a whole heck of heap of ways to get this. And anyway, I'll go ahead and get right into it. I'll go ahead and say this is the finale, but I ain't going to say if I make it or not. We'll just have to see, folks. We'll have to see. But anyway, what I'm making it to is that big gray area in the lake around the Detroit area. I assume that's one of the Great Lakes. I don't know for sure, but I guess it is. And yeah, that's a whole big gray area there that you ain't going to get to unless you do this glitch. It ain't a hack, it ain't a mod, it's a glitch. It's perfectly legal to do, and if you do it, well, there's a lot of effort put into it that the developers put. But I'll show you all the effort, and I'll show you all the results. I ain't going to say if the results are good or not. I'll just say they're definitely results. But to start off, for the first effort, as I said, ending the last video, I had to go through the dam again because the route that I took before went through the dam, and now I'm going to have to go through it again to reroute. So that took me 15 minutes the first time, but luckily, once I knew what I'm doing, that only took about 2 minutes. But the important part of this is that once I got to the dam, I figured out a route that I could take. And that route being the ocean route. And it's not easy, but it looks doable. Pretty much what it is the inlet routes via those little waterways were cut off. The river routes also cut off, so I'll go the ocean route, which is pretty much around here, cut back there because I have to, because you can't go into Canada, around here, and wait for it, folks. Yep, there's a little cutback in the middle of the ocean to the lake that I can go through from what it looks like. So, the lake routes don't work, the little minor waterways don't work, but the ocean route just might work. And if it does, well, then I succeed. If it don't, then, well, stuff like this happens. To start off, I go in that route and not really too far from that dam. I get to a little bridge. Most of the bridges ain't really all that a problem in this game. You just go right under them because they don't connect. But this bridge, it not only connects, it has a hill. And it's not just a hill, it's a jaggy hill that goes all the way up to the bridge. And yeah, that's going to be a problem, folks. That's going to be a problem. And again, the developers had to put effort into this because bridges don't connect to the ocean floor or lake floor or river floor or any waterway floor in this game. And you can't really blame them for that because you're not supposed to be under the water anyway. But this bridge connects and it has a hill directly under it. So I think they definitely had to put some effort in to make that. And well, not that big of a deal because I did indeedy dandy eventually make it over. But that definitely was a challenge that will take some practice to do. You have to have enough speed to get over it. You have to have the right line to not hit the bridge itself. And you can't carry too much speed to jump out of the water. So you have to get over the hill, not hit the bridge, and not go out of the water. Easier said than done, but eventually it's definitely doable. And once I did that, I'm on my merry way to continue the route I'm on. And to the next thing. Nothing all that eventful happened to this point, but for the next thing, more hills that may or may not be effort, and this may or not actually be effort by them put in either that ended up being more than just the normal stuff, but it definitely is a challenge for anyone who tries to do this, so I think it's worth putting it in anyway, is those hills in in, I think I'll show the location in a bit. That location, in general, are hard to get around. If you try to just go around them easily, you go into Canada, which the game doesn't let you do even if you are underwater. So you have to like loop around, and you can't really go up those hills because then you go out of the water, and you can't really like go along the side of the hill because then you go into Canada. So you have to do sort of a loopy bit and crazy stuff, and that takes a lot of practice too. But it is indeed a dandy doable, and once I did it, I continued on my way, and actually I got to the first of the grayed out area. And lo and behold, this actually, once I got here, wasn't really too hard to get. I just skirted on the outside of the land, pretty close to Canada. Another one of the challenges here, again, this might not necessarily be an effort, it's just a challenge. If y'all want to do this, it's worth mentioning, is on the map itself, it doesn't have a line saying where Canada is, so you just kind of have to guess and check. Guess where you are at any given point, and then check on the big map. The little map doesn't show it. But anyway, I skirt along close to the outside there, but not quite in Canada, and I get the first of the gray areas. So I get to the first of the Forbidden Zone. I've actually completed a little bit of the goal now, and that's pretty big and cool, folks. So I continue on my way to complete the main goal, and, well, this happens, folks. This happens. I get to the main little, like, entryway point. I don't really know what the waterways are called all that much. I don't really think it's a river. It seems too small to be a river. I don't necessarily think it's a creek, because I think creeks, like, end. That's more of a connection, because it doesn't really end. So I don't really know what that is. But anyway, it's small, and it's dark out, and it's shallow, and yeah, it ain't looking good right now, folks. But something that I definitely was not expecting for this, but happened anyway, is I had someone joining me for this. They must have watched the video or something, because it ain't the easiest thing to do to get in the water, but that guy did it. So I definitely salute that guy too, who joined me in my journey. And he definitely helped too, because he had an extra light, and it's dark out, and it's shallow out, and it's bumpy out, and that light definitely helped. But nonetheless, even with all the help, the first attempt didn't exactly go to plan. And yeah, I got out of the water just a little bit too much there, and got reset way cotton picking far back. Which again, I think that might have been some effort there, because as I said in a previous video, usually if you get reset pretty close to where you were before. But well, that ain't close whatsoever. So yeah, the guy following me was smart there. He didn't do monkey see, monkey do, and tried to do what I do, which is smart, and he's still there. But me, not so much. I braved it, and it didn't exactly work the first time around. And it's dark, so I just sort of took the rest of the night off or whatever. Not really night, just like 4 hours of darkness. Not really all that big a deal. I just sort of messed around in the water and stuff until it got light again. But once it did get light again, at 3:30 a.m., because crew logic, and all of continental America in real life, 3:30 a.m. is pitch black any time of the year. But nonetheless, in the crew, it's light out. It's early morning. And I get back to that point. That guy's left, but no big deal. Now it's light enough where his light ain't really doing all that much anyway. And, well, I attempt to actually make it through this area. Now that I have some light, I can see better what the most deep area to take is. And for this one, you definitely want to take the deepest area possible so you don't end up going out of the water, because then you get reset way far back. And, well, I do just that. And another challenge that I know they had to put some effort into is all this bottom area here is really caught picking bumpy. All the other areas under the water is perfectly smooth because, well, they didn't really need to do anything more than it than just have a ground. Nothing more than just a smooth basic ground. But this, it's not only bumpy, but they have, like, color and stuff to it, like grasses and stuff. So they definitely put some effort into this. And again, I ain't complaining, because that makes it that much more of a challenge. And maybe, just maybe, once I complete the challenge, which I'm pretty picking close to doing, there might be a nice reward at the end of it too. More than just getting to the Forbidden Zone. Really, all that does in hindsight is just makes the gray area go away, which is pretty cotton picking cool to go on your map and see no gray area and a point where everyone else on the crew has one is cool. But we'll just have to see if that ends up giving you anything special, like an Easter egg type thing. As I said in the first video, this ain't a downright Easter egg because it's not like a reference to anything. It's just sort of their own challenge they put in the game that you had to kind of hunt for to even get to the challenge itself. And then it was a challenging challenge indeedy dandy. But eventually, as I go slowly through this bumpy area because I don't want to risk wrecking, eventually, I think y'all are probably starting to know what's coming here, especially given what y'all see through the crack there of the hills. Eventually, I actually make it to the Forbidden Zone. I made it. After all that work, after all that effort, after all that time. In-game time, I think this took about a day and a half. In-game time. I didn't really pay all that much attention to what that was in real world time, but in game time, with all the mess ups and stuff, it was about a day and a half. I started about a little afternoon one day, and then went all through that day to the next day, and then now it's like 4 whatever a.m. on the next day. But anyway, I made it. I'm on smooth grind here, and I can pretty much go full throttle and do whatever I want in this big lake area because I made it. And Jiminy Cricket, I actually have someone joining me too, which means they probably watched my video. So that's honestly more than pretty picking cool, folks. That's downright incredible. I made it to the point that no one should make, and I have someone who must have watched me show how to do it themselves at the same time as me. All those things falling together at once is amazing. That's honestly, I know this might sound like a big thing, especially given that I'm a Gran Turismo player, but this is, as of the time this happened, and this is one of the coolest moments I've had as a gamer, is making it to a point that you ain't even supposed to get to with someone else who had to watch you to do it to know how. That's amazing, folks. That's incredible. I know I kind of sound like I'm rambling at this point, but I mean, I'm kind of speechless, honestly. Is amazing to finally actually get to this point. I've looked at this gray area since I had the crew, and once I got through all the land areas that I could go through, I was kind of annoyed that there was this one area that I just couldn't get to, and once I found a way that I could get to it, it was amazing. And even more amazing to truly do it, and even that much more amazing to see how much of a challenge it was to do it. So I definitely thank the developers for putting in effort to make this a challenge. And maybe, just maybe, there is a reward at the end more than just getting to the zone itself. This is enough of a reward in general because there's someone following me at this point who put in all this effort to do it. Just like me. And that's amazing in and of itself. But wink wink, there's something else too, more than just getting all that gray area gone too, which I indeed do, eventually. But yeah, to pan out to all of America there, all the gray hair is gone. I finally did it. I've gone everywhere there is to go in the crew, even areas you ain't even supposed to be able to get to, and that's amazing, especially when someone else did it with me. And all that much of a challenge to get to it. There's really no words to describe that. It's definitely worth it for y'all to try that yourselves, too. Because this ain't gonna get enough views where this is gonna become a trend or anything. So if you do this yourself, you're one of the first very, 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 very few to do this. And you can have the distinction of having literally everywhere gone in the crew. There's not that gray area on your map. And that's definitely worth doing, folks. That's definitely worth doing. And well, as I said in previous videos, maybe, just maybe, there's a reward for doing this, and there is. I'm just cruising around after getting all the gray area completed, enjoying being in a nice area where I can go for throttle and pretty much do whatever I want without worry of wrecking or whatever because it's flat. And Jiminy Cricket, that's a giant hill. That's like the biggest, steepest hill in the whole game, and it's underwater. I gotta jump it. I gotta jump it. I gotta jump it. I gotta jump it. Jiminy Cricket, I made it up. I made it out. Holy snikes! Random area that you didn't even know was there. You can't get to this area by driving because it's blocked off, but look at how well it's done. Look at how pretty that is. That's amazing. That's even more amazing on top of the amazing on top of the amazing on top of the amazing there. It's amazing that this is even a thing in general that you can get to the Forbidden Zone. It's amazing how much you have to go through to even travel to the Forbidden Zone. It's amazing that someone else went with me to the Forbidden Zone, and it's amazing eventually where you get to once you jump out of the Forbidden Zone. This is amazing. You can't get through this because, as y'all can see there, that's a barrier. But I jumped to the outside of the barrier, and well, that's incredible. And they had to have put effort into this because it's pretty. All the stuff around it's well done. They put in pedestrians here too, and that's incredible, folks. That's incredible. And well, sort of the end of this is I got a really cool photo op. And yeah, that's sort of the memorabilia for this journey that someone actually went with me on. That's wow. That's definitely wow. And yeah, y'all can do it for yourselves. And if you find that giant hill, which is not really all that hard to miss because it's a giant hill, and you hit it fast enough, you can jump out of it and into this really big and cool photo op. So yeah, this was an unfound thing that I was actually able to do and reward myself for it. That's incredible. I ain't one of those Easter egg hunter YouTubers. I don't really know what to say at this point or know how to describe this, but just do it for yourselves, and y'all can do the undescribable feeling yourself. I'm just sort of the person to show y'all how to do it. Now y'all can do it for yourselves and experience this for yourselves, which is definitely worth more than just seeing it. Words cannot put it to justice. Seeing it cannot put it into justice. It's doing it that really makes it wonderful. And this is wonderful. This is amazing. And I hope y'all can experience it for yourselves. And hopefully y'all do. And maybe, just maybe, y'all can find some stuff that I didn't along the way too. Because there's a lot of stuff hidden that I didn't even know was there. So I wouldn't doubt it if there's even more hidden too. And as always and forever, yeehaw!